And with the onset of AI and this mass incoming of all of this perfection and everything that's filtered and crafted and created by this artificial intelligence rather than what is real, being real is the main currency. We are still in an attention economy, but we're navigating it very differently because we're also in a trust deficit. So we have to do it in a way that's very transparent and very aligned. It should be.
Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to a phenomenal conversation here on the School of Becoming podcast. I am deeply, deeply excited to introduce you to the magnificent woman I have here with me today, the Brielle Cotterman. She is an Inc. 5000 speaker, a TEDx speaker, the founder and CEO of the Influential Leader Agency. She is a friend. She is a force. She is the woman who brought the Consciousness Revolution Gala to life alongside me and continues to amplify the awareness and impact of the School of Becoming in such a strategic and soulful, meaningful way. For nearly 15 years, Brielle has helped visionary leaders craft and scale dream careers to multiple seven figures and beyond using her trademark methods and world-renowned personal brand strategies. Her clients land on Forbes 30 Under 30, coveted stages, top podcasts, Inc. 5000, prestigious publications. This woman knows her shit, so you need to turn the volume up and get ready because she knows how to architect a story. She knows how to help you with precision, and she understands that in this crazy, noisy world, connection and authenticity is really what it takes. So without further ado, welcome to the stage.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for the fabulous introduction. And so amazing to be here with you today, Trace.
Thank you. It's just so good. How lucky are we, right? It's like you don't know someone,
lucky,
right? It's like you don't know someone, and then you meet someone, and then you answer the pull, you trust the pull, you go, yes, let's work together. Yes, let's do this. Yes, let's do this. And to me, that's everything. It's relationships, right?
Yeah.
Everything is relationships.
Everything is relationships. And years ago, when we first met, we were both speaking at the same event. It was just this instant connection. I was like, I think I love you. And you were like, I think I love you. And here we are, you know what, like 7, 8, I don't even know, almost many years later. And yeah, I do feel very fortunate and always very, very blessed by you.
Thank you. I received that. So let's dive in because listeners, this is going to be juicy. We're talking PR. We're talking visibility. We're talking about the new era and what the fuck is AI doing to PR and how do we manage it and how do we grow our brands personally to make our impact massive. So I actually want to reflect and start, Brielle, on something that you mentioned to me recently. And you said that we're in the middle of this massive PR shift because of the arrival of AI, right? And the way that now AI is searching. And you said this, and I really want to understand it better as for the listeners. Traditional marketing no longer matters in the same way as much as third-party verification. Can you say more about that?
Yes. So, we have for years been focusing on SEO. What are our keywords on our website? What are our keywords in our marketing, our blogs, everything that we're putting out there in the world? And while SEO is still important, we have this whole new added layer, this generative AI and how they are searching, because we all know now when we search something on Google, what's the first thing that pops up? It's an AI generated answer and it pops to the top of the screen. Okay. So now generative AI, when they are looking for the most impactful school for soulful women who are wanting to come home to themselves, they are not just pulling words and SEO, they are pulling third-party verified information. So they're going to be looking at what are the podcasts that are saying Tracy Litt is leading the School of Becoming? What are the articles that are talking about the credibility of the School of Becoming? So when they're making their decisions, this generative AI search that now exists, it's more based on your third-party verified publicity type verified appearances rather than just the words that we say. So it's a whole new ballgame.
That's so interesting. So what I'm perceiving about this, and beautiful listener, I'm always doing my best to tap into what might you be thinking right now so that I can deliver you a profound conversation. So not only is it important for each one of us that have what I call big impact, long game intentions, right? Like you're here for something real and something
Yeah.
meaningful. Not only is it important for us to have the notoriety and be in the places, the articles, the podcasts, the media appearances, for all the reasons that it was already important for us because it's street cred. That's always
That's
been my
right.
experience.
Hmm.
But now, while we're doing that kind of with ourselves, the way that searches are happening because of the way that AI is doing the searching, it didn't even occur to me. What you just said is, you're right. Anytime I Google something, the first thing I get is an
Yep.
AI synopsis. So the way
That's right.
AI is now scrubbing is this person, is this company recognized?
And is it
That's what,
verifiable
right, verifiable. Good word.
besides their own language? So the confidence to have the great marketing language and all of that's very, very important. But confidence no longer wins. So we're looking at building trust.
Mm,
Obviously, we're building trust with our audience. We're building trust with our prospects, the people we want to be serving. And like you said, it's a street cred. It's a credibility marker when you're showing up in publicity. And it now gives us the opportunity to create trust, not just with our audience or our prospective buyer, but also with the systems that are pulling and generating these very, very vital types of searches.
wow. Okay. It makes it exponentially more important
That's right.
that we are all focused on, I'm just going to use that word you use, verifiable
Hmm.
exposure.
That's
Because,
right. And
yeah,
and let me clarify too. I want to say
okay,
this. That doesn't mean I am a proponent of go be everywhere and do everything.
okay.
In fact, I encourage just the opposite, and you know that. So I'm a huge believer in being in the right rooms and in the right places and in the right spaces and writing the right articles and having the right interviews because we want to maintain the credibility and the quality, and it's always quality over quantity, the impact, the connection in the right spaces and places versus just, being everywhere.
Okay, I love that. How do I know what the right spaces and places are?
Yes. Well, so there's a couple different things. It depends on what you're trying to achieve. I'm a huge believer and I am a strategist. I am a sales and marketing person at heart. So for me, everything that has to do with PR, there has to be an objective. And so if we don't know where we want to go, it's really hard to craft a strategy to get there. So it's always thinking about what is your objective? If your objective is serving women in business, then we reverse engineer and we think, okay, that's where we want to be showing up. That's how we make that choice and that decision because where are those women in business taking in information? Where are they reading articles? What podcasts are they listening to? How are they showing up in the world where they're taking in their information? Because that's where we really create trust. Because what we've done in this very, accessible global world
Yeah.
where in, let's say, the 90s, I probably would have called my cousin and said, listen, tell me where you bought that necklace. I want to buy one. And she would give me her word of mouth recommendation. Now we have this very global world. And so we trust these places where we're taking in information as well. So I don't just turn to my cousin, but I turn to this influencer that I follow, and I turn to this podcast host that I listen to, and I turn to Forbes or Inc. or Fast Company or Entrepreneur, whatever my go-to space is for taking in information. And if they are choosing you, Tracy, to feature, they could have chosen anyone, and you automatically go to the top of my list where's my brain going to go when I think of this space and who I need to be coming to? Tracy, because she was chosen by them to be featured. And I trust them. I'm taking in information from them on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's so interesting what you're saying because it's actually occurring to me in real time because obviously we're all aware that trust is something that people are seeking right now. COVID completely skewed what anything in PR media, online, digital companies really are. Like that, the land of COVID was not real business, was not real exposure. There's so many layers of trust that a powerful influencer and CEO needs to consider, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where we come in is making sure that you're coherent in your heart and brain and body because the nervous system can sense trust before your consciousness even starts to figure it out. But what I'm really picking up right now is I would argue that PR and media and exposure in the way that your company does it is actually more important now than it has ever been because of the need for trust and what you just explained.
Agreed. And compounded by everything that we've been through, previously as a culture when it comes to trust. Now with the onset of AI, when you're seeing, fake images and you're seeing completely polished and perfection in these images and videos and the fake voices and the generated, all of these things, it's more important now than ever to also be real, to also show up in a way that is, I call it realness because I think authenticity, it's an overused word. It means different things to different people, but being really real, and it doesn't mean you have to share everything, but showing up in a way that is a true expression of yourself. I think we've all had those experiences where we see someone online or we watch someone maybe on the television or whatever, and you interact with them and you're like, wah, wah. Like that saying, like never meet your heroes. And I never want any of our clients to be that. I mean, we have an opportunity to craft stories and show up in a way that's really compelling and creates connection and inspires action. But the main way to do that is by being real, because we also all have seen those kind of flash in the pan here today, gone tomorrow type people who are so busy being who they think they're supposed to be. And with the onset of AI and this mass incoming of all of this perfection and everything that's filtered and crafted and created by this artificial intelligence rather than what is real. Being real is the main currency. We are still in an attention economy, but we're navigating it very differently because we're also in a trust deficit. So we have to do it in a way that's very transparent and very aligned. It should be the expression of everything that you just shared.
That's so good. That's so good.
Thank you.
So I have two questions. I'm just going to ask them both so you can go where you want. What have you observed in all of the beautiful leaders that you've loved into their evolution, right? That stops them from being real? Where do they not get it?
I think there's two things that hold leaders back. One is, I think deeply rooted at our core, we sometimes don't feel safe being real. There's shame that comes with, like my own experiences, having experienced abuse and violence. And then there are shame and guilt that our culture has maybe imposed on us. So I think that feeling of safety, like feeling really solid and really being able to stand in your own power of this is who I am and this is what I stand for. And I'm happy to stand strong in who I am. That I think is from a soul, core, heart perspective, it's that feeling of safety, I think sometimes, or worthiness, that might be coupled in there.
Yeah.
And then from a more like practical perspective, it's people who try to be all things to all people. That I can't tell you how many people come to me who are the very best at what they do, but you wouldn't know it by looking at any of the things that they're putting out into the world, because they're talking about, maybe they're the very best at building a particular type of business, but they want to talk about the marketing aspect and they want to talk about the social media aspect and, operations. And they're just talking about everything under the sun. So if I'm booking a speaker or if I'm going to interview someone, I'm going to look for the person who is the very best in that space. I don't want to talk to somebody who, when I look at their social media or when I look at their website or I listen to their most recent podcast, they're talking about 50 different topics. I want the best person in that space. And so does every media decision maker. And I think sometimes it's really easy to forget that the person who's making the choice of whether you go on the stage or whether you get featured in the article, they're a person too.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think we forget that a lot in any instance, right? There is a breathing human being behind every stat and every number and every pitch,
every decision.
Every decision. It's so vital. It's so vital. So is this also what you mean? You said to me the other day, it's not about being louder, it's about being more precise. Is this the same thing or is that different?
It is 100% the same thing. So being very precise and focused, what are the stories that I'm going to be telling? We all have a lot of stories. By the time we get to this phase in life and we're building massive businesses and we're doing big things and making massive impacts, we've lived a lot of life, right? There are stories there. And So it's being selective, being strategic, and showing up in a way that is comforting to the people who become those fans. That's what we want. We want those media decision makers to say, you know what, I can count on Tracy because every single time I see her on stage, every single time we write an article about her, it's incredible. She brings so much brilliance. So we want to be in a position where the words that we're saying, the information that we're sharing, the stories that we're telling, they're all cohesive and they all make sense. I don't want people jumping around and pulling things from left field. And we have a tendency to do that. And that's just human nature, I think, but it's being very strategic and making sure that you have that. We always say we're kind of like a sounding board, both Heather, who my VP of media training, and,
Yeah.
she is, and our entire team, we're here to be the filter for you. It's very difficult. You can be the most brilliant marketing person on earth. You can even be a great PR person. And if you have to reflect and share what is the special thing about you, what is the genius in what you're doing every single day, what is it that you do differently? Sometimes it's very difficult for us to reflect and do that about ourselves. And that's where we're always that third party. Like, yes, this is a great story. This is a great story. And we need to talk about your rise because we're leaving that part off. And that's the part that actually inspires action. So being that mirror for our clients and being able to help them get completely aligned with their stories, with their messaging, with the results that they're creating from their clients, being able to communicate that in that way that is so clear, we're going to touch the hearts of those decision makers. We're going to touch the hearts of the people who are our prospects. And it's going to make it a lot easier to create connection and inspire action.
It's so good. It's so good. And I just have to say, beautiful listener, like you particularly, Brielle, I remember when I brought you into Ascend, the mastermind I used to run, and you walked us through just like how to tell a story, right? Which is so interesting because you're so phenomenal at it. We think we tell stories, but there has to be some sort of structure, right? And
that's right.
And the pivotal moment of when the thing changed, and then bring me to the outcome. So I'm curious. Can you just walk us through that? Because I know right now there are listeners going, okay, so like, how do I tell a good story?
Yeah.
That you could do that in a quick version?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So first of all, let me give you this. There are 3 stories that everybody should be telling.
Okay.
Everybody. And then we'll talk about how to tell them really, really well.
Okay.
So there are 3 stories you should be telling. The story of your why. We call it a breakthrough story. It's typically based around a major transformation or a breakthrough in your life, and it helps you to break through the noise. So the story of your why, you're going to fast forward and give people an insider glimpse into who you are and what you stand for. Okay. Then also the story of your business zone of genius. So why you're the very best at what you do could be like a moment in time when you recognized, hey, what I'm doing is like making a massive shift for my clients, or, maybe you experienced the massive shift, but a moment in time that tells us a lot about your business zone of genius. And then the third story you should be telling is about your passion. And our prompt for that is, what would you do if you had all the time and all the money in the world? So something that's not your work. So outside of work.
That's hard though, because I immediately my mind went, wait a minute, my why feels like my passion. Like story 1 feels like story 3. Okay.
But so what I want to hear for your passion is, is there a charitable cause that you're completely committed to? I live in the middle of 100 acres on a horse farm. Like nature is my thing. Horses, I'm a world champion equestrian. I've been doing this my whole life. That is my passion outside of my work, on top of, my advocacy and those sorts of things. But that makes you a real person when you share that passion story. Because yes, we want to know your breakthrough story with the story of your why. Yes, we want to know what your business zone of genius is, but we also need to connect you on a human level. Like maybe you love gardening, maybe you love sailing, whatever it is, it humanizes you. And then when we think about these stories, how do you tell these stories? We have our profitable storytelling format, and there's 3 pieces to any story. It's who were you before, the moment in time or the major transformation, so the climax of the story, and then the rise, which comes afterwards. So if we're telling a story about ourselves, we're the main character. Okay, this is our main character moment. We're telling the story. Who was I before? I was whatever your life was like. You can describe, you can take us there. I love to say with good storytelling, you show people, you don't tell them. You don't say, well, I was very responsible. You say, I was a single mom for 7 years and I took care of everything. Like that's where, you're showing me that you're responsible, that you know how to get shit done. Like you're showing me. And then there's this moment in time when there was a major shift in your life. So maybe it was, it could be a multitude of things, but take us to that moment in time rather than
Right. Like I
just,
remember when you said single mom, because that was like one of my
yeah,
stories.
yeah,
That moment in time for me was crying on my garage floor,
yes,
like this
exactly.
cannot be it. And her like coming to me for the first time. And that to me was the shift. And I learned that through our work together, because I always thought I'm a great talker, but I didn't realize, and I want you to get this, learning how to tell story for impact, influence, PR, and media is a skill. It is a
100%.
skill. And I needed to know that for myself. So I just want to share it for everyone listening.
Yes, thank you. And that's I can't remember. I believe the part you were leaving off was who were you before?
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we go through that transformational moment in time.
Yep.
Because what happens when we share that transformational moment in time from a psychological perspective, and we are hardwired for story. That's why it's so important. As humans, this is the way we communicate. That's why there's hieroglyphics in caves. People were telling stories before they could communicate the way we do today.
Yes.
And then the third part, so when you share that moment in time, that transformation, what it does is it evokes empathy and understanding. It evokes the same emotion. My climax of my story, my moment in time, the challenge that I have been overcoming may be different than yours. But when I hear that, automatically, Trace, my mind goes, oh, I knew she got me. I knew I loved her. And that's where we can create connection. So it's this like magical key where we can unlock it. And the third part of the story is the rise. So who were you before? That climax of the story, the moment in time, the major transformation. And then the third part is the rise. And you were sitting on that floor and now you are impacting tens of thousands of women on a daily basis and helping them to come home to themselves and find, the beauty and the disco ball effect and all the incredible things that you're doing in the world. So by sharing the rise, and that's the part that most women leave off because sometimes it's hard for us to share or wrap our minds around or be able to effectively communicate all the greatness that we are creating in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that rise, when we share that, then from a psychological perspective, our mind goes, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why effective storytelling, I think we get so caught up in like, oh, I've got to make reels. I've got to do all of these things. I've got to I've got to show up and do all of this stuff because there's now this added layer of exposure that is so vitally important for personal brand and personal brand strategy, which has, in previous times not been a required part of being an effective founder, but you don't have that luxury anymore. And so being a great storyteller, it just gives you a leg up on all of it. It makes it so much easier.
I love this so much. And every single one of us need support, help, and practice storytelling. It's clear for me. I know it's clear for everyone that's listening. And I really just want to underscore again, it's a skill. There are so many things that we see people do and we assume it's just who they are. Like maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. No, it's not, you guys. No, it's not. It's all a skill, right? The work that I do, it's a skill. The work that Brielle does, it's a skill. It's so important. So fast forward me, because the clients that you're working with have had extraordinary wins in 2025, which I just want to underscore, because while the rest of the world was feeling like everything was dying and falling off and going nuts, the clients in your world were like kicking ass. So
yeah,
what is possible when someone is ready? Because readiness, right, and willingness to do the work with you.
Yeah.
What is possible when they are focused on the PR, the media, the visibility? What has happened for your clients this past year?
Thank you for taking us here because, I will say I have a really hard time celebrating because I'm always like, okay, what's next? And we've got, what's the next big thing? Yeah. And so I wrote my end of year post and I'm sitting there and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is really good. This is really impressive. And it took me, but I'm telling you, I'm so like into the work, and I get to that moment in time and I was like, this is a really important moment for me and our organization and all of our clients, because we do need to celebrate this success. So, we had the cover of Inc. last year. We were on Forbes. We were in Entrepreneur. We had clients on Inc. 5000, Inc. Female Founder List, Ad Age 40 Under 40, South by Southwest stage, Create and Cultivate stage. I mean, just like TEDx stage, all of the incredible things that when you really think of what is my dream space where I want to be showing up, we checked all of those boxes. And it was a really incredible moment for me to, at the end of the year, to kind of reflect on every year has its challenges. It was our biggest, most successful year, not just from a revenue perspective, but from an achievement perspective on behalf of our clients. And I'm so grateful for my team. I spent a lot of years curating this team, and I can tell you, you don't get on those stages without the support of proper preparation. I always say preparation makes permanent, practice makes permanent. So if you're practicing kind of half-assed, then you're going to get out there and you're going to give a talk that's kind of half-assed. But if you're practicing and you have professional support in your communication when it comes to speaking on the stage or giving a great interview or writing an article, or how you can be showing up to really create connection, you are going to show up in a way that's going to make massive differences for you. We had a client on the Female Founders List on the cover of Inc. And because of that cover, she got a really phenomenal book deal.
Yes.
And so it just like, it's textbook, And then we had another client who came in. He was former LAPD, very, very accomplished, ran private security for many celebrities and professional sporting teams. But nobody really knew who he was at all. He had no public presence whatsoever. Published his book. He's spoken at half a dozen universities this year as an expert in his space. He has done more than 24 television appearances across the country. Again, textbook, like listening, doing the work, perfecting the message, perfecting the delivery, showing up in a way that allows people to create connection. And then it happens. I want everyone to know personal branding, it's not just throwing spaghetti against the wall. I've been doing this for so long. We have a proprietary process. It's proven. It continues to work. We see it over and over and over again. And if you are ready and you show up in a way that is real, and you're not trying to create some persona that you think you're supposed to create, it really is possible to leverage the 4 parts of any influential leader, which are credibility, visibility, communication, and network. And that's what it takes. And I don't want to say that's all it takes, because it's not simple, but there is a way to break it down.
Right. So what would you say is and there's no guarantee or definitiveness about anything, right? And that's what's real. But what would you say the ramp up is? So we have I imagine there are a few dozen women right now that are listening that are like ready, and they're at this point and they know that PR and media is the lever. What's the ramp up? Like, meaning I come on with you, we start to do the work. How long does it typically take to see some of these portals open, if you will, or opportunities happen?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot. You have to be ready. Personally, as an individual, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to show up. Basically, they need to work with you and get everything right on the inside.
That's right.
So they're ready to stand in their power and kind of own it, Yeah. And then we do, which you participated in, we have an incubator program. We get wins for our clients sometimes straight out of the gate. I think when you really think about how can I get there to all of those places I really want to go, you have to think about, you have to be poised for that opportunity first.
Yes.
And that is a good 3 months of working on getting really real about what are your stories, what are your objectives, where do you want to go, what are the things that you want to be able to create? Because as I said, and you know this about me, I am not the person who's going to say yes to everything, because that is not I want to guard your time. I want to make this credible. I want to make it real. I want to make it influential and impactful. So making sure that we are being precise, not just being louder in the message that we're sharing. So that chunk of time where you're really getting very real with a mirror that, I stretch and push my clients all the time from a storytelling perspective. I'm a huge believer. You can have your vulnerability threshold. We have to establish that straight out of the gate. This is what I'm comfortable sharing. This is what I'm not comfortable sharing. And then you have to be strong about that. Yeah. We want to equip our clients with that. So that time period of really being able to feel and envision yourself stepping onto that stage wearing, whatever it is you're going to be wearing, the gorgeous red dress or whatever it might be, but being able to envision and take your mind there is so important. And I think sometimes the reason why it's so hard is because we've never been prepared. We want to speak, but it's scary to think about getting on the stage. We want to write the book, but it's scary about being vulnerable. Well, what if you had that support system where you felt completely prepared for that opportunity? And then it's going to diminish all of that angst, and it's going to give you the opportunity to play with it and have fun with it. This is my chance to shine. This is where I get to show the world my brilliance. And that's a really special place. So I think, that first chunk of time getting poised for the opportunity, that it's in some people it's different. Some people it takes a few sessions, some people it takes that 3-month time period, and then really stepping into amplifying your personal brand strategically.
Yeah, I love that. And what I experienced and what I know to be true for other beautiful clients that we share, where, they've done the internal work with me and they do this gorgeous, I would say, PR, external visibility, all this gorgeous influential stuff, is one feeds the other. So as you are
That's right.
internally becoming, you're ready, you're getting your nervous system to tolerate more of that visibility, the scene, the exposure. And then you have a moment where you're being interviewed, even if you're in like the 2-minute clip on, like when I was in Tennessee, right? And I was on the news, it's like, then the exposure and you seeing yourself in the moment creates expansion. Then you come back to the inside and you make sure you can be with that expansion and it feels safe. And then you have another moment, like when Marianne Williamson and I were on stage with the gal, and I was like, yes, is this real life? What the fuck is actually happening right now? You know what I mean? But then it's like a moment where I got to witness another expanded version. So there's no question, and everyone already knows this, it is both an inside and outside experience and job to really elevate, to make massive impact, but like actually not just use it as lip service, but to go, you know what? I have a meaningful call on my heart. I was tapped for something big. I know I'm smart enough to know that I don't do this alone. I'm smart enough to know that I need to become her internally and also work with companies like yours to bring about all of the exposure. Because if we don't work inside a company like your company, then we keep ourselves the best kept secret, right?
That's right.
Exposure point.
Yeah, I say, we work with all the time people who are the very best at what they do.
Yeah.
But they struggle for people to know who they are. And you can be fabulous at what you do. And I do think that every single time you expand, every single time you go out there and you do the television segment, which, by the way, doing a 2-minute television segment is much, much, much harder than giving a 45-minute keynote talk, because you only have 2 minutes to show your brilliance. Right?
I know. Oh my God. That was probably, I have to interrupt you just for a second because they're just having a real conversation. That was one of the skills I learned from you and Heather, because everyone knows I'm a talker. Give me hours, give me days. For me to concisely get my point across in 2 minutes and feel like I did it, like I actually achieved it.
That's right.
Felt so hard, but I did it because of you.
But you did it.
I did it.
And then there it is. There's another moment of proof. There's another data point for you. Like, not just of your own credibility, but of your own excellence, And so that's where it all comes back to trust, and trusting yourself is a big part of that. I can do this. I am worthy. I am ready for the spotlight in a way where I can share my message, because, and this about me, I spent many years playing small, hiding behind a story that I didn't feel comfortable sharing publicly. And because I am a survivor of domestic violence. It was something that carried a lot of shame and a lot of guilt for me. And I continue, even though I've stepped beyond that and really taken ownership of my story there, I continue to identify all the time as I'm expanding and growing as a human, like, okay, I was still playing small in this capacity. Like, I'm ready for the next level. And I have to be able to trust myself before the world can trust me. I live on a horse farm. I work with horses all the time. And I think that's one of the best things that animals and that the horses truly bring is they are such a mirror to your soul. And if I can't convince this animal that I am a leader, that I am worthy of them following me, how am I going to go out and convince the world that I'm a leader in my space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm being quiet just to let this land because what you just shared is so beautiful and so real and appreciated. It's appreciated. I just love you.
I love you.
Okay. So obviously we could talk forever and there's going to be so many things. I'm just going to say it out loud. You guys, Brielle and I are doing something together this year in 26. So just pay attention to our spaces.
It's going to be great.
So I have one final beautiful question. And then I'd like you to share all the links, the places, all the things that everyone can do with you. So if it feels good, you can close your eyes. And I want us to take a deep breath together. And I want you to imagine, Brielle, that every single leader across the globe is tuned in and attentively listening right now. And I hand you the microphone and you have 30 seconds to tell them what you really, really, really want them to hear.
The most important thing that you can do is to get real with yourself, so that you can show up in a way that's very real and creates impact for your audience. Because if we don't tell the stories that are real and we don't show up in a way that is genuine, then we're not going to be helping anyone. We're not going to be helping our prospective audience or future generations. If I didn't start talking about the fact that, yes, I am extremely successful. Yes, I am a well-educated and accomplished woman, and I experienced domestic violence, I wouldn't be changing the narrative around what a survivor of domestic violence can look like and does look like. If you're not sharing your story, if I didn't step forward and start creating the influential leader agency where I put this to a process and made the difference in the lives of all of these people that I work with and for, so they can impact the world and make a positive change, I wouldn't be living what I'm supposed to be living. I wouldn't be living my purpose. So you have to get very real with yourself. And then it is your obligation to share in a very public world the realities of what you are great at.
Amen. Amen. And I want to really underscore, it is your obligation.
It is.
It is. That is how the collective consciousness rises. That's how ripple effect occurs. We are all connected. Oneness is what's real. Separateness is the lie. And it is our obligation, right? When I get into this mode and I talk about it as our divine moral responsibility to tap in and heal and undo paradigms, it's the same thing. You experience what you experienced in your life for a purpose, for something to contribute to the greater good. So sitting on it, hiding with it, letting your shame make you feel ashamed about it is a non-fucking starter.
That's right. And whether it's good or bad, because we do that too.
True.
We do that too. It's, and especially women, sometimes we have a really hard time owning our brilliance. And you are doing this and achieving this for a purpose. And you've got to figure out how to get comfortable standing in it so you can share it with the rest of the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
So where's the best place for everyone to hang out with you?
So I'm on Instagram. I have a broadcast channel there. It's my name, Brielle Cotterman. We'll make sure you have all the links for the show notes. And then, of course, influentialleaderagency.com is our website. There's a way to apply to learn more about all of the things that we do. We are an application-only organization. That means we are selective in those that we work with. We want to work with people who are ready and who want to make a difference. And that's a huge value of the entire organization. So we would love to communicate with you. I am on my socials myself. And then, of course, our incredible team is plugged in and plugged into the website as well.
Amazing, amazing. And for those of you that are listening that are feeling the pull to apply. Because as a client in Brielle's organization, that the application process is appreciated as a client as well. So if you're feeling the pull, apply and see where this can take you, because it's amazing. So thank you. Thank you, Brielle. I love you so much. This was incredible.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful
fabulous.
souls. Check out Brielle, check out the Academy. And until next time, remember, there's always more love. Bye.